Hi guys, Martin Curry, Belief Media, 13th of March 2026. I like creating these videos at the moment just because it gives me an opportunity to communicate some of those things that I've seen through the week, some of those things that are working for our brokers, and some of those things that are scoring points and putting deals into your pipeline. Now, for information, I'm in Western Sydney at the moment. This is a place called Austral. I'm here with a couple of brokers that are about 100 yards ahead of me. I've left them alone for 20 minutes to shoot some of their own video. It's just an interesting spot. This is one of the spots we'll visit tonight. There are a couple of others. I always like to shoot videos on location. I don't like AI because I like brokers to physically walk through homes and touch the frames and things like that. There's a specific format that we use for different types of videos, and there's about 6 to 10 specific locations. If you come out and shoot video with me for a day, I'll take you to at least 12 locations, but there are 6 primaries. So incidentally, across the road there's about 270 homes that are going in there, I think. It's just, this area is insane, yet it's still the armpit of Sydney. The local council, this particular area, Austral, which is within the Liverpool municipality, and Liverpool is notorious for not improving upon roads and things like that. I live about 15 minutes that way or 10 minutes that way in the Camden LAC, the Camden council area. It's a little bit better, but the roads are still stuffed. So I'm going to sit down here and I'm going to talk to you about landing pages. Right, just landing pages. It's one of those things that I've dealt with quite a bit in the last week. So what are they? How are they used? When should they be used? And more importantly, when should they not be used? I'll talk about what we use as an alternative to landing pages. So very first and foremost, what is a landing page? A landing page is just a web page. Right? People talk about this all the time as though landing pages are some sort of magical and mystical thing. Landing pages are just a web page, and the only purpose is a conversion, right? So where most information pages on your site tend to include a whole range of elements and steer people in different directions, where the focus is on, well, it's a clear conversion focus, but we also look at different pathways that people might take. The landing page sort of steers in the direction of a conversion around one specific objective, and it's paired with an ad or an offer or a promotion or a social media ad or something else. Anything that directs someone to that page, and the landing page itself is part of the digital conversation. The ad itself is the digital handshake. The landing page continues with that conversation, and we drive them further towards the subscription or into the subscription experience. A landing page is not a funnel, and a form is not a funnel. Probably one of the most misunderstood aspects of any landing page. You put a form on a landing page, that's not a funnel. You put emails in follow-up to a subscription, that's not a funnel. A funnel is a very three-dimensional and multifaceted thing, and it's why I guess our guys and girls get far more conversions than their competitors. In fact, this month, once again, we are well on track. We're halfway through the month. We're well on track. Our guys are going to do 2 billion in an industry that's going to do 35.5 billion this month. Our guys in isolation are going to take a really big chunk of that. So, you know, super proud of what they're doing. Now, let's talk about landing pages again. So a landing page is just a page, a web page, free from distraction, free from sidebars, big clunky headers and whatever else. Again, the primary focus is the objective. You want to just continue the conversation, which means only those elements that are absolutely necessary. You put too much on a page and it becomes confusing, and you draw attention away from the primary message, and you give people the opportunity to lose confidence in that message that you initially made. So only use what is absolutely necessary, and there are about 10 to 12 primary elements that are absolutely necessary on any landing page, and then there's in the finance space there's 15 primary compliance requirements on any landing page. The average broker landing page has probably 1 or 2 compliance related features, and I think it's probably the most important. We're writing, if the MFAA figures are to be believed, we're writing over 75% of all loans now, so we should adhere to the same standards that we would expect from the banks. We are now the consumer-facing voice of banking and lending, and we should adhere to the highest standards. We owe it to our customers, and that's why I go on about it, because it's most brokers are just non-compliant. About 100%, close to 100% of those dickheads that, those coaches and Facebook educated, the weekend educated Facebook warriors and things, they are just not producing a compliant experience for their people. A landing page, despite the fact it's a landing page, has to be every bit as compliant as your website. And if you shut your landing page off from your website, then the requirement to include additional compliance related elements on your landing page improves. Now, I said a landing page is just a landing page. Okay, for that reason, you should never host a landing page on Lead Pages, ClickFunnels, High Level, or wherever else, right? And if you do that, it disconnects you from the funnel experience out of the gate. Every single broker on this planet has the capacity to put a landing page on their website right now in 5 minutes. We had a plugin called Believe Media Funnels for years and years that a lot of brokers used, and it gave your website the capacity to produce pretty cool landing pages within a couple of minutes. And literally within a couple of minutes. If you look at our website, dating back to 2007 or 2008, and certainly 2013, 14, 15, we wrote a lot of articles on turnkey landing pages, just those minimal elements that were necessary in order to create a landing page that converts. So, why would you use a landing page if you have the intention of delivering a funnel experience? Right, putting a step form in front of somebody. I've talked about this 100 times. I don't want to go into it too much now. A stepped form, for fuck's sake. And we've got 60 step forms. The difference is, when we put a form in front of somebody, a step form, we deliver results. If you've got somebody that's an investor or refinancing or a first-time buyer, and you put a form in front of them, we're going to deliver product results, we're going to deliver graphs and everything else on a landing page. And we're going to action a redirect to a page that is most suited to their borrowing objective. So that's called funnel escalation. All of a sudden, we're starting a digital conversation because the user has told us something or expressed an action, and we're responding to that. Not in a generic way, but in a very tailored way. These things may not seem significant, but guys, it's the reason our brokers get better results. It's the reason our brokers are seeing conversions for 10% of what those knuckleheads, those absolute freaking knuckleheads, like, these coaches. The reason I'm creating this video is I inherited a couple of guys and I'll post the text message that I got yesterday or the day before. So you've got all these people that are going to coaches like the Sam Pease, and I don't know him from Bar of Soap, right? He's an SFG broker, not particularly successful himself in the broking space, so he operates a very mediocre experience. Jess P, who again operates a very mediocre sort of business, was never really able to scale beyond a certain point, so she reached capacity. There's a lot of people that are pushing Facebook systems onto brokers. They give it a fancy name, the funnel strategy, the turbo method, the 24/7 client machine, the this, the that, the everything else, and they're putting a fancy name on something that is inherently simple. Like I said, it is just a web page. If you put a form on a web page, that is every bit as effective as the landing pages that people have you build out, often in third-party services. And I'm going to say it again, if I didn't say it before, every broker has the capacity to build landing pages into their own website. No self-respecting broker, and so certainly no respecting marketer will ever advocate that landing pages be hosted on third-party services, ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, High Level, or anywhere else. Landing pages go on your website. It's integral to the funnel experience. It's giving our website a signal. We can serve conditional content, conditional redirects, conditional forms, and build upon that conditional experience. And I know I'm talking gibberish. I know a lot of what I'm saying will go over your head because you're not familiar with a lot of the other stuff that we do. However, here's the thing. When I inherited a couple of people that dealt with one of the coaches, and she's useless as hell, right? And I said, why on earth are you using this landing page, right? Because why would you use the landing page in the first place? First of all, obviously we need to have an escalating experience. We want to promote a funnel. We've got a journey, an actual customer journey, right? And what most people do is have a landing page and stick a form on it, bunch of testimonials, some rubbish, hopefully a video. By the way, your forms should never be hidden behind a modal button. Your forms should never be below the top of the folder. There are a whole bunch of rules in which we follow. You should always have the floating header and footer. Your compliance should always have 15 elements. There's a whole bunch of rules if you're going to use landing page before you even start to consider what goes on that page. So the structure is every bit as important as anything else, because we need to direct, we need to focus the eyes of our consumer directly onto our primary call to action, and we don't want to dilute that with a secondary call to action or a third tier call to action. So primary call to action, someone's on your page because they've responded to something, so we need to feed them with additional information and escalate. So as I was saying before, and by the way, the difference between a good landing page and a bad landing page is 30 or 40 times. Right? If you have a bad landing page, it will compromise your results by 40 times sometimes. So in those cases, and certainly in the case of a couple of people I inherited from an idiot coach today, all I said was, why are you using the page? Because again, I know I'm going off on a rant here, but everyone will serve you with the same experience. So form, it'll submit to something, normally a calendar. Okay, so it submits to Calendly. Again, submitting off-site. You've paid a lot of money to get people onto your website, and what do? At the end, you stick your finger in their bum and send them off to Calendly, despite the fact you haven't escalated them properly. So the decision to convert hasn't been made. Right, you can multiply conversions by 300 or 400% just by putting an intermediate step in there, which no one does. And I hate that no one does it, because I've been screaming out aloud for 15 years for people to do it, but no one seems to listen to me. Instead, they stick to this generic subscription. And again, everybody, doesn't matter who you go to or where you see any of this Facebook stuff advertised, everybody's doing exactly the same thing. And worst of all, everybody's using exactly the same ads. People don't speak to their position, their strength. People don't speak to specific pain points in the market. People aren't being creative. We're given creativity for a reason, yet as soon as we start manufacturing ads, we throw acronyms and horse shit at our consumers. LMI, DTI, LVR, all this nonsense, without actually expressing the end result. And we don't deliver upon the promise. Remember, the ad's the promise, right? Ads are promise. The landing page feeds that promise, and it substantiates it. It qualifies it. So everything I've just said, why then these two people that I inherited just today? And I said, why on earth are you using these garbage landing pages? I said, before we do anything, and this is by the way, this is at 9:05 this morning, 9:05 a.m. this morning. I said, let's just get rid of these landing pages. They're not doing anything for you. They're having the opposite effect to that which is intended, in that you're just driving people away because the landing pages are garbage. So I said, let's just put in a Facebook lead form. Before we even look at what we're doing with our own landing page experience, let's just get rid of them, right? And by the way, we got rid of their ads as well, because the ads were garbage. But I said, if you're going to use a landing page, it has to have purpose, because you're driving someone off site. You're interrupting people that are watching videos of boxing kangaroos, dancing cats, cute golden retrievers, and girls in bikinis. That's what Facebook is. And then we throw this, finance related opportunity in front of them, and we struggle to get to the point. We talk a lot of fluff. Sounds familiar. So we're not doing the right thing at any point, and it's little wonder that most brokers don't see very good results. And these guys today were paying $46 for a bad lead. So they were converting, maybe they said close to 1 in 10%. So we took them on under our $100,000 guarantee. I said, listen, I'm not even going to bother building your landing page initially, because I can triple your results by 10 a.m. today. And that's exactly what we did. By 10 a.m., they were getting 3 times the return. All they did was remove their landing page. So, we spoke again. It took me a good 10-12 minutes to get their ad sorted and everything else. We saw the results straight away. With the same spend, they saw 3 leads in that same period. So 3 leads within that same period. The lead cost was down to between $7 and $12, which is really good. They had the ad running for a while, so they had an audience, and we swapped the ad out as well because they had a garbage ad that was built on the back of really poor and horrible advice. So they tripled their results in an hour, and I say triple. Effectively, they've multiplied the results by 10 times. Right, given the lead cost and the quality of the candidate that's coming through their experience. So you've got to remember that the landing page doesn't always have to be used, and I'd say in the experiences I see online, about 60 to 70, maybe more, maybe closer to 80% of all the landing pages I see should not exist, in which case use a Facebook lead form. Why would you use then a landing page? And like I said before, the funnel-centric focus of the experience. If you want to put a step form in front of somebody, what's the house buying, how much you want to borrow, what's your credit like, all that sort of nonsense, A, it has to have purpose, but B, it has to deliver results. So when they hit submit, it's going to show them some products, but it's also 10 seconds later, it's going to redirect them to a second page that has more information and builds upon what they've already told us. So we're able to carry them on that amazing digital journey. This is what works. This is objectively what works. It's not experimental. We've been doing this forever. We run more ads than anyone else in the industry, probably by 20 times at the moment. At least broad advertising, includes TV, radio, and everything else. And Google's become a big one for us. By the way, we're doing a lot of Reddit ads at the moment. I'd say $250,000 a month in Reddit. So there's some results I want to talk about now. LinkedIn, we're down to about 140,000 results. And the results on LinkedIn typically aren't as good as Facebook, but at the moment the results on LinkedIn are on par with Facebook, directly on par. That's the lead cost, and the quality of candidate is a lot higher. Anyone on LinkedIn is generally a better candidate. If somebody spends time on LinkedIn, generally they're a better candidate than someone that spends time on Facebook. People read LinkedIn in a business environment. People read Facebook on the toilet. There's a really big difference between the two audience types. So there's so much to talk about there. Now, here's the thing. If somebody gets you, okay, I take a step back. Our focus is educating brokers, right? Our brokers build their own ads and build their own funnels and everything, and they do so tremendously well, tremendously well. My objective is to educate brokers in such a way that they are 20 times more effective than those knuckleheads that are out there selling those crappy products, that are giving the industry a bad name and that are delivering poor digital results, right? So, my primary focus again is education. Every broker has the capacity to produce amazing results. You know your business better than anybody else. I've been saying that forever. And all you need to know is the secret sauce. You need to know what the core ingredients are in order to deliver an experience that really, really works. And you will always exceed the returns than those delivered by the charlatans, the pretenders, those coaches that are trying to drum up a bit of high-level affiliate revenue. You're always going to deliver better results by taking ownership, but you have to have the right tools and systems. And it's why I've pushed our website for so long, because it's got the facilities within the website to deliver an amazing experience. Now, here's the thing with our website and the relevance is most monkeys out there will have you build a landing page. You might call someone up and say, I want a landing page, can it be built? And you sit there like a monkey and drag and drop and do these things and everything else. A landing page should never have to be built, guys. Never. We've had a system that submitted landing pages, to your website for a long time. We did it in different formats, and we dismantled it, over 12 months ago, nearly 2 years ago, and replaced it with 2 systems. But the system I'm going to talk to you about is one that's just completely turnkey, and that is landing pages are already on your website. We submit them when we come across an opportunity. We just submit a bunch of new landing pages to your website. It's a single page that serves a different experience based on the entry URL. So It's not. We're not submitting thousands and thousands of pages to a website. We're just submitting to a single table in a database. In fact, 2 or 3 tables. But we're submitting to the database and creating a record of a landing page, and then it just builds to your page immediately. So out of the box, you've got 100 landing pages. So those people that charge, if you're into King Kong, for example, who are quite a good company, really, they, Sabri Subi, he charges $8,700 for a funnel. They use ClickFunnels. We've only ever been able to multiply their results by about 250%, so we haven't reached that 300% yet to add them to our rescue list. In fact, we have no expectation that we ever will, because some of their guys on staff are actually quite good and cluey. However, they'll charge $8,700 for one page and one funnel. You've got 100 loaded into your website right now. In fact, it's not 100 at the moment. It's only about 65. We vary that on a day-to-day basis. If something needs to be changed, we'll change it. And that's on top of those landing pages that you can submit yourself as a user landing page, or those that you build yourself, like a monkey, right in the back end with the drag and drop stuff, where you drag a step form or drag a form and all that sort of stuff. Plus all our all our pages have the conditional redirect built in. They have all the logic built in. So conditional forms are bullshit, right? Okay, I'm going to tell you straight up, conditional forms are a load of nonsense. That is, how much are you making? We'll go in this direction. Do you have good credit or bad credit? Yeah, we'll go in that direction. Conditional forms are nonsense, because the funnel experience, like I've said 1,000 times, is designed to qualify you. And all you do by asking questions that aren't entirely necessary for the purpose of satisfying the funnel journey, all that does is alienate the client that you're dealing with, right? You start asking somebody you don't know what their credit score is, it's not going to end the way you want it to. Okay, so forms kind of disqualify the broker, and the entire funnel experience is there to qualify the broker. It's not to qualify the client. It's a load of horse shit. Look at our results. What we're doing needs to be emulated. You need to copy what we're doing. So don't do stupid stuff, and don't put forms unnecessarily in front of people unless you make it very clear before they start that at the cessation of this form, not a deceptive, see if you qualify, see if you're eligible, see if this, see if that. We're going to say at the end of this, you're going to see immediately a number of product options that might be suitable, that may possibly be suitable. Because what that does is establishes your expertise and authoritativeness in the market. Now, we talk about know, like, trust all the time, and that's nonsense. I hate saying it and I hate hearing it, because know, like, trust is a journey that, a framework, if you like. It's not even a framework, it's just the basics of the building blocks of any relationship. Doesn't matter if you're walking up to a girl in a bar or shaking someone's hand at a barbecue. Know, like, trust, right? The know and like part can be quite quick, but the trust part takes time. How long is it going to be before you let your 10-year-old daughter sleep over at someone's house? For a lot of us, that's never, by the way, but the idea is trust takes time. How do you build trust? And that's why we built our Magic Lantern model, which is an overarching model that sits on top of our entire digital experience, but applies in isolation to landing pages. So education, experience, entertainment, and I always forget the bloody fourth one, experience, right? So you have to demonstrate that. So all your tools on your website, all the streets modules, the lending data, the facilities for training, the FAQs, the geographic data, the search facilities, the school search, all that sort of stuff is there to establish you as the broker of choice. Remembering that everybody that submits something via your landing page or via an ad is going to submit to 3 other brokers. We've got a system that we introduced maybe 6 months ago, which shows brokers, I've got this lead, how many other brokers have also got this lead either A, in their database, or A, submitted to them as a lead. It's an opt-in service. We don't, and we anonymize everything. It's just a little tick, a little red dot, really. You hover over and it'll tell you those stats. Again, you have to opt into that before the data is shared, even though it's anonymized and everything else. But you'll see immediately, hey, this person's actually subscribed to 3 other experiences in the last 2 weeks, which is horrible for us, because then we've got 3 or 4 brokers competing for the same client. And then it comes down to a matter of who is the better broker, who is the better communicator, right? Who is the person that is more responsive and able to offer more empathy and you know, reaches that is so we know the person more, we like the person more, and we trust the person more, and that all comes down to those four attributes, those four echo attributes. The we call it E plus AT, which is the expertise, the entertainment, so on, for the authoritativeness and trust. So, guys, landing pages are such a big topic, and I will tell you categorically that 0% of those in the finance industry are running landing pages correctly right now. Every single one of them can improve upon that experience by at least 2 times. And I say at least 2 times overnight by employing, you know, certain features and putting certain facilities in place. Right, the finance industry is different from any other. It requires a certain type of communication that is ignored, and you certainly need to provide the customer journey. Now, on the landing pages, landing pages was always a generic term. It evolved from the squeeze page, which the squeeze page was just a big long page, went forever, was big, salesy, horse talk, right? And that evolved from broadsheet newspapers, landing pages. You know, you open a newspaper and there's a big ad for Bing Lee, and it's got this thing, but right in the middle is this bar fridge for $299. That's the focus. There's a lot of horse crap on the side, but there was a big call to action facility with a big phone number down the bottom. That's what you might have seen in the 90s and maybe the early 2000s. That made its way into squeeze pages. Certainly within the 90s and early 2000s, squeeze pages were a thing. Landing pages were more subtle and more dignified. And now we've got this movement that's heading back towards a squeezy type experience, but instead of calling it a squeeze page, which is a fairly vulgar and offensive term, I think, in terms of, hey, we're going to squeeze the name and email out of our landing page visitor. We use the name PDP, which is the product description page, which leans more into, or applies more to the e-commerce experience, where it is a general product description page, or where you're selling a particular product. And every single mortgage broker on the planet has the same landing page. It's the same high-level template, or the same ClickFunnels template, or the same template, and everybody says and does exactly the same thing. And the videos being used are inappropriate, and they're often, usually not targeted. In fact, half the time I'm clicking on a nurse ad, and then I go to a landing page that has a video for engineers or something. You know, it's just the lack of effort and care and oversight that goes into landing page management is crazy. So our landing page guys perform better than any other. So to finish up, this video's gone for 27 minutes, holy crap. Okay, to finish up, we did a whole bunch of webinars last couple of months. The expectation was that I was going to record those and just use them as educational tools for new people that come into the business as we merge or move into our funnels model, right? Our 1-800 funnels model. Now, or 1-300 funnels model. 1-800 sounds better. Now, the thing that got me with those, or surprised me with those, is we'd have a 40-minute webinar, and then the brokers themselves would talk for at least an hour or two afterwards. So it became, there were a lot of questions being asked, a lot of discussion, and a lot of friendships were made, a lot of alliances were forged. So I had to once again reevaluate, what am I going to do? So I thought, what I'm going to do is a webinar once a week, starting soon. Right, we've just made, in the last 2 or 3 days, we updated our email system, the Nexus. We updated our social system again. I'll talk about that another time because there's a couple of modules going offline for the next few days. What I'm going to do, and this is based on the experience, based on $5.7 billion in volume. That's how much volume was generated on the back of the information that I've used to redevelop a couple of the experiences. Now what I'm doing is Jonathan Brisbane, Andrew Melbourne, and Kelvin Sydney. They're 3 guys that are really good brokers. Only one of them I think has run, one of them's actually had ads running until December, and I'm not entirely sure, but none of them have ads running. They just obviously don't need to or whatever else. They've got their own reasons, but they've engaged in other programs with ad running. They've certainly, in all cases, used our website and everything else. So what I'm going to do is, just with these three guys, I'm going to give them a specific webinar where I'm going to introduce them to very specific techniques that they are going to try for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Just those guys. That way I can shape the broker-facing webinars on the back of the results that they see, because there are a couple of fundamental changes. Thus far, I know that they work, so we're not looking at the changes to see should we deprecate them or keep them alive. The changes are only to see how well do these changes apply. So across a bigger budget, across a broad audience, what sort of results can we expect to achieve? So that's that, guys. I just, I have these rants. I got to get back to my brokers in a second, but I have these rants because I see the industry just doing the wrong thing. It's not a case of me being ego driven or anything. I've been doing this forever, so I've got a very objective take. I know exactly how to return leads for a business. We have at the moment 7 businesses that do between $10 and $30 million a month on our managed programs, and we deliver 100% of those volumes. Every month I go out personally and get $200 million worth of volume for these businesses on top of their Facebook spend. It's just what we do, and we do it very well. Yet the industry continues to drive forward. I often use the metaphor of the Titanic, where you've got all these antiquated methods being used, people driving the Titanic into an iceberg when we know it's there, and we just need a course correction, because the industry is just so far behind. The industry is so poor. The security standards are poor. There's a lot that needs to be improved upon. As individual brokers, though, our focus is just building volume, it's getting people through the door, having those conversations, and all marketing returns results, even if it's bad marketing. The idea is to optimize that. So instead of paying $300 or $400 for a conversion on Facebook, that's a conversion into an opportunity. Why not get that same opportunity for $50 and have that individual be a high quality candidate that's getting a 1.4 refi instead of a $300,000 refi, so they can go out and buy a caravan or something, or consolidate. There's no client is a bad client. I'm not saying we turn work away or anything. I'm just saying we need to set our standards a little higher and just be more effective with our marketing efforts. And landing pages aren't a sexy topic, I know that. But when we have the capacity to improve upon something so simple and multiply the results in such significant ways, why aren't we doing so? Right? I just want the industry to do well. I want brokers individually to do well. And at the moment, a lot of you guys are doing everything you possibly can to screw yourselves over. So there is a reason that we return more mortgage clients to the mortgage industry than any other company in finance history, I think. I stand to be corrected on that, but certainly the last 12 years, as we've focused exclusively on mortgage brokers, exclusively. And remember, if we've got a $100,000 guarantee, which is a pedestrian figure because you're never going to get it. One of the text messages I got in the last couple of days said, "Bugger, I hope to get that $100,000." That's the guy that got 3 leads in an hour, and they realised, hang on, I'm getting leads now for $7. When I was previously paying 70 or 60 or whatever it was. And they all converted. 3 of them actually converted. 3 leads and 3 conversions. That doesn't happen all the time. And I told them that the message said you have to be prepared to accept conversions between 30 and 40%. Sometimes higher, depends on your niche and your targeting and everything else. In fact, I'll post a little photo of my daughter in a dentist chair, because I was chatting to the dentist about home loans and stuff. And I picked up 2 home loans for a client whilst my daughter was getting her teeth done. Again, it's just an opportunity. They're conversations that need to be had. So if you've used BrokerGo, BizLeads, Jess P, Sam P, Sun Bear, I keep on getting that name wrong because I don't know what the business is, Sun Bear, Brighter brokers, there's a whole bunch of them. There's a list of them. I think there's 13 companies. If you've used any of those companies, we multiply your results by 3 times, I'll give you $100,000. We've only targeted those companies and brokers or coaches or whatever else that deliver the worst results. There are companies that do genuinely compete with us, do really well and get really good results. I don't think any of them can claim to get better results. That's something they admit to. I meet with them all the time. I see them like, once or twice a week now. We all get together and bounce ideas off each other and things like that. But that particular group I told you are always going to deliver a poor experience, and they're always going to cost you an enormous amount of money, and they're always going to deliver the worst quality of mortgage candidate. And the training that we provide you qualifies you in such a way that you will be better than them at what they claim to be a professional at doing. So you'll always get better results than them. You'll have more knowledge than them. You will be more experienced than them. And you will get cheaper leads, you'll get more volume. So guys, if you want to build your business, if you want Facebook style advertising, if you want to engage in our partner stuff, our website, we've got 2 licenses left at the time of recording this video. We did have one, then one guy retired and handed his license back. So these are elemental licenses we can issue, which are part of the website package. So if you're interested in anything, guys, 0400 777 300, if only just to have a chat and see if there's anything we can do for you. 0400 777 300. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.